So, let's dive right into this journey of starting out as a freelancer in 2023. Imagine quitting your 9-to-5 life, like the digital strategy planner did back in 2015, and trying to make it on your own terms. It's a wild ride filled with lessons about building relationships and being super dependable.
Yep, absolutely. And it's not just about suddenly landing huge gigs, right? It's about playing the long-term game while starting small. How do you see that long-term mindset playing a role here?
Yeah, there's the idea of freelancing as a lifelong journey. Exactly. It's a long haul. The whole idea is that every opportunity that comes knocking is built on relationships created years ago. Think about it. Relationships can compound like interest. Start small, nurture them, and eventually they pay off.
Sure. But what about those moments when you put in all that work and you still get taken for a ride? The guide makes it clear that sometimes you'll end up with nothing despite offering real value up front. How would you handle that?
Yeah, that's the reality check. It's inevitable. True? And that's where it gets interesting. The guide advises to, accept that some efforts won't yield returns immediately. It's like spilling coffee. Messy. But you clean it up and keep moving forward. And, each red flag you notice makes you more savvy next time.
And speaking of value, it really emphasizes being interesting, likable, approachable, and simply offering value to the people around you. Isn't it fascinating how offering free advice or insight can eventually lead to a paying
Absolutely.
gig?
It's like planting seeds. Yeah. It's like you get you out there. You just start offering advice without expecting anything in return. And before you know it, people start to see you as a trusted person. They invite you into their circle, and that trust builds slowly over time.
And then there's that point about not just waiting for relationships to magically happen, but actually creating them. Now, I get that it makes a lot of sense, but don't you think sometimes it can feel a little forced to walk into rooms where you're not invited?
Well, that's a fair point. Yeah, true. I mean, it might seem a bit intimidating at first. But, the idea is to be deliberate. Seek out those opportunities, join groups, attend meetups, and be proactive on social platforms like Twitter or LinkedIn. It's like crafting your own door rather than waiting for someone to open one for you.
That proactive approach makes sense. And it's not just about networking, it's also about being reliable. People want to work with someone they can count on to deliver, even if you're not the absolute best artist or writer out there. It's similar to opting for a dependable car over the fanciest one.
Absolutely. Reliability is key. Even if you start small, like doing a modest gig for $500, it's about building that track record. And as you deliver consistently, you gradually escalate to bigger projects, even reaching that 10 lakhs a month milestone as a team.
Now, what about the idea of spreading yourself wide? The author talks about working on diverse projects, like marketing consulting, ad film production, ghostwriting, even investing on the side. Isn't that a bit risky? How do you balance such diverse roles without becoming too scattered?
Well, it's a trade-off. Yeah, it's a delicate balancing act. But the notion is that by diversifying, you not only keep yourself interesting, but also resilient. For example, when one revenue source dries up, like during the COVID lockdown, the diverse skill set allowed the freelancer to pivot and survive.
Right. Interesting. And another lesson that stands out is the idea of over-delivering. Imagine being asked for just one blog post and then providing extra insights, tweets, or maybe even design extras. That kind of effort builds a reputation. But don't you worry that over-delivering too often might set a precedent?
Yeah? It's all about balance. You want to be memorable without always setting unrealistic expectations for future work. The key is to understand your client's needs and offer a little extra value that doesn't break your bank, so to speak.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole topic of discoverability. Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. If you're visible, you'll attract work. That means actively showcasing your work through newsletters, blogs, or even simple social media posts.
Right, it's like inviting opportunities to find you. Exactly. And that's critical. You have to be out there demonstrating your expertise, whether that's through writing, tweeting, or even creating videos. The more opportunities you create, the more likely you'll land on gigs that resonate with your abilities.
But then there's also the challenge of visibility. The author admits being poor with visibility sometimes despite all the hard work. It makes me wonder, how much does forced visibility really matter if the quality and trust are already built?
Well, that's the tricky part. True, it's a double-edged sword. Even if you're really good at delivering value, if people never see what you're doing, it's like you're in the shadows. You have to work on amplifying your presence, maybe even learn some new techniques for self-promotion.
Yeah, that's tough. And speaking of teamwork, the guide emphasizes the power of collaborating with other freelancers. No one person can hit those high numbers alone. It's about joining forces, dividing tasks, and presenting yourself as a collective. Isn't that a refreshing take compared to the lone wolf image?
Totally. Yes, absolutely. It reminds me of how a single twig can break easily, but a bundle of twigs is like really strong and almost invincible. The C4E Collective is a prime example. By pooling skills and sharing projects, they've managed to reach impressive billing numbers together.
One thing I appreciate is the emphasis on being easy to work with. The idea that even if you're exceptional in your craft, if you're too hard to deal with, clients will shy away. I do wonder, though, sometimes, isn't it worth it to push back a bit to maintain quality?
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's definitely a balancing act. On one hand, making yourself accessible and cooperative builds trust. On the other, you don't want to compromise on quality or let clients push you into a corner. It's all about finding that middle ground where reliability meets professionalism.
Right on. And trust is a recurring theme. Being honest, keeping your word, and respecting confidentiality if you're juggling projects for competing clients. That radical honesty is something that clearly builds long-term loyalty.
Exactly. It's interesting how every lesson interconnects. Long-term relationships helping build trust, which is further bolstered by over-delivering and being a reliable partner. It's like constructing a reputation brick by brick.
Another cool point is about starting small. Not holding out for that huge fish right away. Instead, you build your portfolio, refine your skills, and let those smaller gigs lead you to bigger opportunities. That, to me, is one of the core takeaways.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's all about gradual growth. Like learning to swim in the shallow end before jumping into the deep end of freelancing. Those early projects, even if they're modest, build your skill set and, more importantly, your confidence.
It all adds up. And the bonus? As you widen your interests and spread yourself across multiple industries, you not only become versatile, but also more interesting, which frankly opens up even more relationships and opportunities. Quite a positive feedback loop, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. It's like your efforts compound over time. Absolutely. The entire guide is a roadmap to not just surviving freelancing, but thriving in it. By actively creating your network, being reliable, starting small, and over-delivering, you set yourself apart in a highly competitive market.
Very inspiring. In the end, it's really empowering to see that these aren't hidden hacks or secret formulas. They're practical human insights that anyone can apply to start a freelancing career. And even if the journey is long and sometimes rocky, the rewards are definitely worth the hustle.
Right. And while every freelancer's path looks a little different, These lessons, building relationships, being reliable, starting small, and over-delivering, remain universal strategies you can adapt to your own style. It's like the blueprint for long-term success in the freelance world.
Absolutely, it's a game changer. Thanks for this deep dive. I mean, it's given me a lot to think about. And for anyone out there looking to start freelancing in 2023, remember, it's about persistence, value, and genuine connection over time.
Yeah, keep at it and trust the process.